Hi everyone, and welcome to your daily oracle reading. The challenge, Six of Water. Now, this card's main symbolism is that of emotional clarity when you are interconnected with other significant people in your life, and this interconnectedness gives you a certain kind of psychological fortitude, inner power to feel safe and secure within your own life, especially emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, so to speak. But in shadow position, it might represent the total opposite, where you once had this certain kind of sensation of being interconnected with other people, and you might have felt a really strong sense of security, even though those people who you were connected with were maybe not people who you knew deeply personally, but maybe it was just a spiritual connection which you had with the collective consciousness, so to speak. But for other people, this can mean actual friends, actual family, actual soulmates, so to speak. Maybe people who you share a spiritual circle with. Now, for others still, this could represent the past, where you might have all of a sudden nostalgic moments of a time in your life in the past when you felt connected, when you felt secure, when you felt happy in your own life. Now, it doesn't really matter of how the symbolism of this card manifests in your life in the present moment. What matters is the shadow side, that you do not feel connected, do not feel safe, do not feel in control over your own emotions in the present moment, and the global turmoil, and especially its side effects, its psychological side effects, are the main cause for this, because you might be confused, you might be worried, your concerns might be growing in a very quick pace, and all of that is going to lead to a moment when you'll just descend into chaos, descend into an infinitely deep ocean of the abyss, so to speak, from an emotional perspective, because when there's no external truth, when there's no inner truth, when there's no truth ever which your mind can perceive as something to ground yourself in, now that is already a dark night of the soul, but one of the most vengeful kinds, because it doesn't have to do with the past, it doesn't have to do with the future, it has to do with the present moment, because you're in big trouble emotionally right now. And it is this right now which gives you the sense of urgency, which actually stresses you out deeply, because neither emotionally, neither mentally, no matter how we look at it, there isn't anything real, there isn't anything solid and concrete in which we can grip ourselves into, giving us at least the illusion of security, at least the hope that everything is going to be okay. But these hopes are alive and are well inside of us, just that if our mental spheres can no longer identify how it's going to play out, it can't even come through as a daydream, it can't even come through as a fantasy because the situation is so very uncertain, then this is already a big problem. And this is what the challenge of this card represents, that in the present moment, just trying to figure stuff out, trying to make sense of this and that, reading, allowing news and information from the external reality to offer you a sense of clarity is a bad idea, because it's only going to make things much, much worse. The only solution, and this is basically the challenge of the card, this is where you have to trust blindly your intuition. There is no other way, there is no other option. Right now, in this present moment, this is the only real thing in your life, because anything else is highly subjective, highly contradictory, and that is somehow slowly but surely ungrounding you. That is slowly and surely triggering fears, paranoias, a sense of insecurity, and it's also ripping away your spirituality, because you know that, healthy faith has doubt. There is no question about it, because history has shown us that bigotry and judgments and rigidity in belief always lead to a really dark and bad ending. But right now, the doubts are getting so severe, so out of control, that you have no choice but to simply give your intuition, give your soul maximum trust. And this might not come easy for very many people, but think about it this way: the fact that you were born into this era, the fact that you're alive today, and you're experiencing all of this, is already an indication that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. So even if your doubts, even if your fears, even if your psychological uprooted state is confusing you, is getting the better of you, you can at least trust that the divine intelligence had to have a reason why you're alive right now, why you exist right now. So all of this has to lead you somewhere, and the best attitude is that of at least trusting in your destiny if there's nothing else you can trust in. And this is how we get to the opportunity of this card, which is the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess is the card of wisdom, of intuition, of your emotional and psychological maturity, when all the past experiences, when all the past wisdom you have accumulated are sufficient to make you embody the archetype of the wise person who, yes, cannot ignore all the troubles and turmoils of physical reality, but you can trust in what you know. You can trust in what you feel. You can trust in your own perceptions. You can trust in your own intuition and your own gut feeling, because it has never actually steered you wrong. It might have sometimes steered you into chaos, but that chaos always had a really positive side effect. It always had a really positive conclusion, resolution, so to speak. So much of your wisdom is actually due to that chaos. And at times when your intuition apparently steered you wrong, was an even bigger blessing than when it steered you straight to the bullseye where you actually wanted to get, or what you actually wanted to accomplish. And this is a moment in time when you have no other option but to embody your inner high priestess, regardless if you're a man or a woman, because the feminine energies are very much alive in all of us, regardless of our gender. So this means that if you have severe doubts, if you are severely confused, just detach, just ignore for a couple of hours physical reality, turn off the news, turn off everything electronic, do not allow external information to enter your sphere of awareness, and just listen to your soul. Listen to what your inner voice says. Listen to what you feel from a totally detached state, because that is your truth, and that holds the intelligence of your superconscious, which can very easily calculate and figure out the future. So if you take that moment of silence, the moment to just meditate and contemplate by blocking everything external out, you can quite easily tap into spiritually, in a non-linear way of logic, into whatever is going to happen next in your life. So if you feel calm, if you feel that all of this is leading you somewhere, if you feel that it isn't doom and gloom for you personally, if you even feel that there's bigger opportunities entering into your life which are going to be triggered by all of this, well then listen to your inner voice, listen to your inner wisdom, do not fear. If there is no other way to go about it, well then just for a couple of days, even a couple of weeks, reject all external information and choose to believe your own inner perceptions. Now, another opportunity that the High Priestess presents to you is you have spiritual powers, you have the gift of intuition, and you might say that you're not that intuitive as a person, but each and every human being has the power of intuition because it isn't something purely spiritual, it's actually something deeply written in our genes. We have a special organ inside our brain which is responsible for that. So when nothing else works, it has to work. The intuitive part has to work. So tap into your wisdom, tap into your practice, and just use divination, whatever that means to you, regardless of how you do it. If for those people who don't have like solid experience in this, just take a quiet moment in your day, an hour or so, and just ask the universe to help you, to guide you, to send you messages. And 100% it is going to answer, because this is a time of great crisis and turmoil. And just as the negative part of the whole situation is very much alive in the world, the solution, the helpful force, is also equally alive. So there is always help out there. We just need to accept it. We just need to be receptive to it. So just ask the universe to guide you, and it's going to send you information. May it be through divination, may it be your own unique individual way of communicating with the divine. Ask for help and you'll be given information, and most probably the information that you're going to get is going to comfort you, is going to be more real and more true to you than anything you might hear on the TV and the news. So use this opportunity to find comfort, to find psychological fortitude in your intuition if there's nothing else in your life that can help you, or if your inner being is way too stressed to be receptive to anything else or anyone else. Now the resolution is the Three of Earth, which is a really positive card, because in the tarot is the card of work, but in the oracle deck it represents interhuman connections. So this means that all of this is leading all of us, as in humankind, to embody, or better said, to develop a much greater sense of synergy with other people. This is where, because of our current social and physical distancing, of all the limitations, we have no choice but to tap into our intuition, and through it, through empathy, through telepathy for other people, or simply the instincts, the power of the instincts, we can know, we can tap into how other people, especially our loved ones who are maybe at a greater distance, our friends, our acquaintances, or a person who we connect with through the internet, how they feel. We can get really valuable information of whatever is going on in their lives, whatever is going on in their heart. And the moment when we are confronted with our intuitive senses, as in we communicate with those people physically, write to them or phone them or whatever, they might just give us the feedback how in tune, how spot on, how accurate our intuition was. And if this is part of our current daily lives, it's obvious where all of this is going to lead us as a collective. All of a sudden, maybe it's going to enter our consciousness, our collective awareness, that we do not possess only five senses. Maybe it's going to be that much obvious that we have a sixth sense. And scientists, especially those scientists who treat stuff pretty superficially, might say that this is a big BS. Well, people experiencing this in the present moment, vast majority, millions of people, if they tell them, well, I don't know if this is BS or not scientifically, but I lived through this, I experienced this, and there is not a single shadow of doubt in my mind that this is real, and every single person possesses this ability. So this might all of a sudden lead humanity as in a collective to become aware of our true gifts, our true synergies we can have with each other, what love, alliance, common purposes can do to people, because it can bring out their very, very best, supportive, tolerant selves, because they no longer need only their rational spheres to figure out how other people might be feeling or what's going on in their minds, but if they sense it, they live it through in their own inner worlds, well, then that already opens a big window of understanding, of empathy, of greater compassion, and very many modern problems which our society is facing in the present moment and has been facing all throughout the modern era. For example, religious differences and all of that, the political correctness. Now, if we have a sixth sense and we can feel how other people are feeling, well, that already solves all the problems, because there might not be that many issues of correctness, of equality. If we know for certain how other people feel, we won't abuse it. We won't hurt them. We won't say that horrible words. We won't express that horrible thought. We won't challenge them. We won't ridicule them. We won't be cynical, ironical, and toxic. If we take responsibility of what we express and project onto each other, well, that already opens up the age of Aquarius, so to speak. That is where all of this is leading us. And the sense of synergy is basically the gate to the future all of us would like to experience, where humankind is no longer a chaotic, forceful, interconnected elements just struggling to support each other, struggling to tolerate each other. Maybe our sixth sense, our empathy, our gifts, so to speak, are going to be the main drive of what actually quantum leaps us into the future all of us have to experience, where humanitarianism, equality, equity, and unconditional love is not just an ideal, but something all of us are embodying and working towards, leave as an inheritance for future generations succeeding us. Well, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.